What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Nintendo discussion. My name is Blaze, and today, we're talking about the Amiibo problem and how to solve it. Very important topic that you might be asking yourself. It's kind of a lesser known topic, but you might be asking yourself, Blaze, what's the Amiibo problem? Like, what is the problem with Amiibo? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not really a widespread problem. It's not really a problem necessarily, but it is something that could be improved in the future. So, in the past, I'd say about a year ago, Nintendo has stated that they want people to actually use their Amiibo in game rather than just collecting them. And to be honest, I've bought a ton of Amiibo. I have so many Amiibo, and it's pretty ridiculous. So, but I started thinking, like, am I ever going to scan them? Am I ever going to use them in a game? If it wasn't for Animal Crossing, which, by the way, is probably one of the best uses of Amiibo in games today, it's got the best of both worlds. It's got ways to help you manage your town. It does a lot to encourage you to scan the Amiibo to collect more furniture. It's actually one of the better ways that Amiibo have been utilized in a while. But other games kind of fail to reach that level of greatness. One thing that brought this up was that the Metroid, the newest game, Metroid, Samus Returns, for the 3DS, is talking about how the Amiibo are going to be used in Metroid. Of course, we have the Samus Amiibo and the Zero Suit Samus from Super Smash Bros., which will be used in this game. We've also got the two Amiibo on the screen right here, Samus and obviously the Metroid. And they actually posted on the website here what you can expect from these Amiibo. So, looking at the Samus that you see pictured here, this actually will unlock an Elon Reserve Tank, which is a special ability recovery. And once you beat the game, you can unlock a Metroid 2 art gallery. So that's kind of cool, I suppose. The Metroid that you see right here will unlock Metroid Marker. Tells you the location of the nearest Metroid, which can be very useful in the game if you're having trouble finding it. And the Fusion difficulty mode will be unlocked after beating the game if you have that Amiibo. The Samus Aran from Super Smash Bros. Will unlock Missile Reserve Tank, Missile Recovery, and a concept art gallery unlocked after beating the game. And Zero Suit Samus will unlock Energy Reserve Tank, which is for energy recovery, and also a sound test. So, looking at these, I guess unlocks. Looking at these advantages, it's not something I would even want to use while playing through the game. So, I know that there are players out there who, who'll take every advantage that they get. I know there are players out there who will find themselves in a situation where they're like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get through this part. What am I going to do?" And they'll scan an Amiibo to help them out. And I get that. That makes total sense. But for gamers like me who grew up playing games like Metroid or playing games like Legend of Zelda or Mario, I don't want anything that's going to give me an advantage in the game. I want to go through the game first on my own, and then I'll scan an Amiibo. Then I'll scan something to help me through the game if necessary. But if I've already beaten the game, I won't even need to scan the Amiibo. So that's kind of the problem I'm running into with the Amiibo. The Amiibo problem, what I mean by it is that this type of unlock tends to be a common thing in the Amiibo gaming community. Whether it's for Metroid, Hyrule Warriors was very similar. That you really only unlocked a random weapon once per day or 3 times per day, and it wasn't anything that you necessarily had to do, but it gave you a slight advantage if you wanted to do it. I think the Woolly World Yoshi actually let you play as Big Yoshi, which that came with its own advantages, but it wasn't something that you necessarily had to do or anything that was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I had this Amiibo because I have to scan this. Well, you don't have to, but if you're having trouble or you're stuck, maybe it'll give you an advantage or help you out. So that's kind of what I mean by the Amiibo problem, is that the games that utilize Amiibo don't use them in a way that makes me want to scan them, me specifically, and maybe you agree and maybe you disagree, and that's fine if you do. Post in the comments below if you agree or disagree. But generally speaking, there's not a game out there that utilizes Amiibo in a way that I need to scan them. So that's the problem that we're running into. And Nintendo asked the question, why are people collecting these and not using them in games? Well, because you release content like Super Smash, like not Super Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Actually wasn't bad, but it could have been improved. And I'll talk about that in a second. But like Metroid for the 3DS, it could have been utilized in a much better way. Now, I don't have any ideas for Metroid specifically. If you do, post them in the comments below. Um, but I will say that I mentioned Super Smash Bros., but Super Smash Bros. Was the kind of a game that we know characters like Wario and characters like Little Mac and a couple others actually had alternate costumes that you could use while fighting online. I mean, the amiibo very well could have been used to unlock an alternate costume for a character. Not that they should have been used to unlock an alternate costume for a character, but they could have been, and it would have been something that you could use online or you could play with your friends. And it could have been something that, as long as you scan the amiibo, regardless of where you got it, it's unlocked permanently on your game. That would have been fine. Because I think we all know, we all have that one friend that has all of the amiibo, and I think I'm that friend to a lot of people. But either way, I think they could have been utilized in a much, much better way in Smash Brothers. Now, the way that they were utilized to be able to fight, kind of against yourself in a way that they learn from you and that they develop, that was kind of unique and a good way to use amiibo. So what we got in Smash Brothers wasn't all that bad. Maybe it could have been improved upon a little bit, but it wasn't bad, not at all. The other thing is, we look at games like Mario Kart, where Mario Kart is kind of a similar example where it could have been used in a much better way. Amiibo could have, in Mario Kart, for example, they could have unlocked, like they did unlock costumes for the Mii character, which I don't even use the Mii character. I don't have any interest in using the Mii character. And unlocking those costumes might be cool online to kind of show it off, but it wasn't something I really needed to do because I wasn't going to use that character anyway. So when we look at Mario Kart, we could have looked at Amiibo like Dr. Mario. We could have had a Switch version of Mario Kart that where you scan Dr. Mario, you actually get to play as a reskinned Mario with Dr. Mario costume. That would have been awesome, right? Take it online, play with your friends. I think that would have been really cool. The same thing with Link. We don't have this version of Link in Mario Kart. So scanning this amiibo could unlock that costume for you to play online. And of course, it could have worked in a similar fashion to what I said about Smash Brothers, where if you scan it once, it's unlocked for you permanently. I think that would have been cool. And if you agree or disagree, put it in the comments. I think there's a good debate that we could have as far as that goes. Mario here is kind of the same way. We could have scanned this classic Mario amiibo and unlocked a classic Mario skin for use in Mario Kart, which would have been really neat. I look at it kind of in a way as like back when I used to be a hardcore Gears of War player, and Mortal Kombat, when it first came out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, there were a lot of pre-order bonuses going around where you could get an extra costume or an extra weapon skin, things like that. And we look at a game like Splatoon 2 now, where we have these cool weapons that everybody has a favorite weapon, whatever it is. We could have had an alternately colored weapon, or even a whole new shirt or something like that unlocked in Splatoon. I think the idea of taking those items online and playing with your friends with like a glowing red splat gun, that would have been super cool. Something that not everybody can get, but I mean everybody could get it, but not something that everybody would have right away. And of course, as long as you scan it once, it's unlocked forever. I think for me, that would definitely make me want to scan Amiibo a lot more often. But then you kind of get into that gray area of whether or not is that the right move. When we talk about pre-order bonuses and the way that was, the question comes up of like, Why wasn't that in the game in the first place? Why do I have to buy an amiibo to unlock this content? Why do I have to scan this to unlock this content? And it's a very valid question. Why do you have to scan those things to unlock this content? So while I love the amiibo and I love the idea and I love what it could do for you in games, it does bring up that question of like, if we are scanning them to unlock bonus content, why isn't the content just already there? But it is a good debate to have in the comments below. So keep it respectful, folks. I don't want to get into a flame war here, but I do think that there's opportunity there to have a much better experience with Amiibo. So that was my first idea on how to improve the situation for Amiibo right now. The other thing that I thought of was that I'm thinking of a game, and I hate to bring this up, but Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival actually kind of used it in an interesting way. Now, the game mechanics of that game, actually playing the game, was a nightmare. I don't recommend it. But the way that the game worked, you'd have an amiibo, and this amiibo would be your playable character in that game. You'd scan, not this one because this is Mario, but you know what I mean. You'd scan the character into the game, and that was your character. I don't think anything's necessarily wrong with that, but it does kind of raise the question of why do I have to have an amiibo to play this game? Mario Party, I think, tried to do that in a similar fashion, and I'm not sure how that went over, but I don't remember anybody ranting and raving about Mario Party 10, so maybe not so well. But I think that if you look at Amiibo Festival and how much I disliked that game, the Amiibo functionality, at least they really tried to put Amiibo functionality into the game, but scanning your Amiibo wasn't the problem of that game. There were many problems with that game. Amiibo wasn't one of them. And it came with 2 of them, so you automatically got 2 Amiibo just for buying the game. So there is that. So a game that came to mind as far as like, how could we get a game that's similar enough to Amiibo Festival, but totally different, that people would want to play and would make you scan your Amiibo characters. And one game that came to mind was Four Swords Adventures for the Gamecube. That game, if you're unaware, was a game where Link grabs the Master Sword and then splits into 4 characters. And you can kind of do this with Triforce Heroes too if you wanted. But if you normally you'd play the game with one Link, a green Link, or you could play with red or blue or purple Link as well. And those are all unlocked from the start. So you can get through the whole game by playing with those characters if you wanted to. And you can unlock different skins for different characters as well. But if you had the Amiibo, you can unlock that skin and use it whenever you want. So at that time, it actually kind of brings up the idea that you're playing with Link from Four Swords, but you're also kind of playing with Skyward Sword Link, or you're playing with Breath of the Wild Link, or you're playing with Ocarina of Time Link. And you can be one Link, and your friend could be another Link, and your other friend could be another Link, and you guys can go through the game together as these different Links, kind of conquering everything. It's got a little bit of a mix between like Triforce Heroes and Four Swords and also Hyrule Warriors, in that they have all these different worlds colliding. But it might be a fun idea to kind of get people to scan Amiibo. My initial thought for that was that people who originally bought the Breath of the Wild Link the Amiibo would come with a card with a code on it that would unlock that Link for you in the game permanently. But as long as you had the Amiibo, you could scan it and always play it. So for instance, if I bought this Link and it was my first one, it'd come with a card. I put the code into my console, and I can always play as this Link whenever I want to without scanning the Amiibo. But if I never bought this Link and I just wanted to play as this Link, I could ask my buddy to borrow it, and I could scan it into my game, and I could play as the Link, but I have to scan it every time. So if I don't have the Amiibo, I can't use it. So that's just an initial thought as far as like what would really help to encourage people to scan Amiibo more frequently, because I don't think there's necessarily a problem with Amiibo and the functionality, but I feel like there could definitely be some improvements. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you agree with me, that's great. If you disagree with me, that's fine too. put it in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I do videos periodically on Nintendo related products and culture and gaming and everything like that. I also do videos on my Twitch channel. I do streaming of Animal Crossing and Pokemon shiny hunting. So check me out there, twitch.tv/L3LAYZE. And stay tuned for my next exciting discussion video, which will be coming up very soon. And thanks for watching me, guys, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.